it's Gabrielle, and this video is a sample from Studyclix Boost, our new rapid revision tool. Go to studyclix.ie/boost to find out more.
Hey folks, it's Stephen here with Studyclix, and in this video I want to show you how to find the general term or the TN formula for a quadratic pattern. Now we're going to see how to do this through doing a question, so let's get stuck in. I'm asked to find a formula for Tn, the general term of the quadratic pattern 3, 6, 13, 24, 39 and so on. So basically we want to come up with a formula here that gives us every term. For example, that'll give us term 1 equaling 3, term 2 equaling 6, term 3 equaling 24 and so on and so forth. We're looking for a formula that unlocks this entire pattern. Now the first thing is we're told that this is a quadratic pattern, which brings us to our steps. The first step of finding the Tn of a quadratic pattern is knowing that the Tn formula will look like this. an squared plus bn plus c. This is the general form of that pattern. And so what we'll have to do here is find numbers for a, b and c that correspond to give us the pattern above. So how are we going to do that? Well, our next step tells us that the second difference equals 2a. And the differences is something we're going to have to find here. So let me throw my pattern down. We're going to do loops here to find our first difference. So to go from 3 to 6, you have to add 3. To go from 6 to 13, you add 7. To go from 13 to 24, you add 11. And to go from 24 to 39, you add 15. That's our first difference. Now we're going to go ahead and get the second difference. So we get the difference of the first differences. So how do we go from plus 3 to plus 7? Well, we add 4. Then to go from 7 to 11, we add 4 again. And to go from 11 to 15, we add 4 again. And just to note, our second difference is constant here, and that tells us it's a quadratic pattern. So what did we get this for? Well, our second step tells us that the second difference equals 2a. So 4 here equals 2a. And we'll be able to solve for a here, dividing both sides by 2. I get a equals 2. So I've actually got one of the numbers for my formula already now. I know wherever there's an a, I'm going to be putting in the number 2. So let's go ahead and update our formula. So Tn here will look like, instead of an squared, it's 2n squared plus bn plus c. So that's the first kind of job done here. We found what a is, but now we've a bit of work here to find b and to find c. So let me show you how we're going to do that. Now, to go ahead and find b and c, we're going to have to form some simultaneous equations here. So let me show you how we do that. I hope you'll agree with me by saying the first term of this pattern is equal to 3. Because if we just look to the question, the first term is equal to 3. So I'm going to say that t1 equals 3. But that basically means when n equals 1 in our Tn formula, it has to equal 3. So let's go ahead and sub n equals 1 into our Tn formula down below and let the result equal 3, because we know the first term has to equal 3. So I'm saying 2 by 1 squared plus b times 1 plus c, that first term has to equal 3. I'm simply going to multiply out and tidy up this equation. And I'm going to get the letters to the left, so I'm going to take 2 away from both sides here. And here I get my first equation, b plus c equals 1. I'm going to find a partner equation for this. As I said, we're forming simultaneous equations, so it needs its buddy. And I'm going to go ahead and say that the second term in this pattern, t2, equals 6, because if I look to the pattern, the second term is 6. And what that means is if I substitute n equals 2 into the Tn formula, the result has to equal 6. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going 2 by 2 squared plus b times n, which is 2, plus c, and I know this equals 6. I'm going to multiply out, tidy up, and get the letters to the left and numbers to the right. Doing so, I get 2b plus c equals minus 2. And finally, what I'm going to do here is simultaneously equate these two equations I just found. So I'm stacking them on top of each other. B plus c equals 1, 2b plus c equals minus 2. So what I'm going to do is eliminate the c's, and to do that, I will multiply the entire first equation by minus 1. The second equation stays the same. We'll add our two equations together. The c's eliminate, and I'm left with b equals minus 3. So that means I know what b is in my Tn formula, and I'll substitute that in at the end. And I have a job next to do to go and find c, so I know I can sub this value for b back into either of my two equations. So I'm going to sub it into the b plus c equals 1, because that's the simpler looking equation. And doing so, we get c equals 4. You equally could substitute that into the second equation. You'll also get c equals 4 here. So that means I now know what b and what c is to substitute into my Tn formula. So let's throw everything into the formula. I'm saying that Tn equals 2n squared plus Bn, so it's going to be minus 3n plus c, which is plus 4. And there the hard work is done. There's 3 main steps here, folks. The first thing you have to do is find out what a is by using the fact that your second difference is equal to 2 times a. The second thing you will then do is set up your simultaneous equations and solve. And when you solve that, you simply sub everything back into your general term formula. And you need to have that learned off. That Tn for a quadratic looks like an squared plus bn plus c. Now let's finish this question off by just reminding ourselves of what this formula does. Basically, n is your term number. So if I sub in any value for n, that would represent the term number you're talking about. So let's see how it can work. Say I wanted to know what term 1 is. I'd simply replace n with 1. And when I work that out, I'm going to get 3. And that makes sense because the first term in my pattern should be 3. Let's try it out with another one. Say for term 2, wherever there's an n, I'm going to put a 2. And lo and behold, I get 6, which makes sense that the second term in this pattern is 6. You could work out any term number whatsoever you wanted. If you wanted to know the 10th term, you'd simply sub in n is 10 and work it out. Now it's your turn to try this out. Pause the video here, try these questions out and check in with the solutions when they appear on screen. Here in question 1 we followed that exact method as before. Question 2 here also follows those strict steps I've shown you before. And here in question 3 we work out that b equals 0, so our Tn formula just looks like n squared minus 4, which is totally fine. It's still quadratic because of the variable squared. Thanks for watching.